recording.
We're recording. Welcome, everybody, to the Borderline Hostility podcast. Today is a big day in America. It's January 20th, Inauguration Day. Probably can see it on the screen there. There's little introductions. Everybody's getting their seats and all that for the big moment at 12 o'clock. I'm your host, Barry. With me, as always, my buddy Derek.
What's up?
And Will.
Hello.
We're going to cover this. We kind of missed a week or so. Last time we recorded, we had a big old show planned and kind of ran out of time. So we moved a lot of our news segment to today, obviously, because politics is taking the spotlight today. We're going to do some news, and then we're going to do a little live stream of the inauguration. So before we start, though, Dee wanted to say some things, and I will give him the floor.
Yeah, basically, it's like, so this is like a new thing for us here at the Borderlines Hostility podcast. It's like a quasi-live episode. With any amount of luck, I won't have to go back and make a bunch of edits or cuts or anything like that before we can put it up live. But, you know, we can't really do it live because there's risks involved, and it's like, basically it means we have to hope that Will, and as he is wont to do, doesn't say things like stretchy Penn Florida, sticky butt cheeks, Chanel Sega game, Harry Taco Bell, people that wear and bare neck.
What the shit?
I take issue with that because Shinobi, great Genesis game.
Yeah, it is. Come on.
It is. But at any rate, Will, let's get into the news before it is 11:13 right now, and at noon it looks like this inauguration should start. Hey, there's Pence.
That fucking jackass. Fuck you.
He's wearing a mask, like, wow.
Yeah.
Sell out. Traitor.
I just remember 4 years ago being on the phone with my mom, and my mom she kept saying "oh no" every couple seconds, and just how horrible it was for her to be living through that. I'm glad she gets this, like today's, it was so great seeing that jackass leave the White House. Did y'all see that shit earlier?
I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know who did it, but somebody put put YMCA over they did the audio over the
Yeah.
And it was so funny because that's one of the songs that he's known for now, and it's great because that song's about closeted homosexuals going to a gym and having sex with each other.
His soundtrack also includes Fortunate Son, which I think is just great. I don't know if he's that stupid or he just thinks it's a great song, or he knows what the song means, and his followers are just like, yeah, Fortunate, that's a great song.
It's also great because I saw a video. It was somewhere in Europe, and they were just like all out in the streets singing the "Hey, hey, goodbye" to him, and it's like, wow, you do not want to be like that shitty of a person that like a completely other country that is an ally is.
Like, we didn't even go to bars here when, like, Bin Laden was killed, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
We didn't even cheer that on, and that was the end of one part of Al Qaeda. So, kind of great that people show up in the streets to cheer that on.
All right, let's get into some news, guys. All right, this is a little outdated, so I'm gonna try to, I'll skip the stuff that's kind of completely dated. Well, we are over 400,000 deaths in Corona, which is great because why not? All right, we have 3,400.
Remember during the election, it was like, you think we'll actually see 300,000 before he leaves office? Like, yeah, we probably will. And wow, 400. That's unfathomable.
Oh, no, it's completely fathomable. I heard today that today's the 1 year anniversary of the first appearance in America of Corona, and 400,000 dead is pretty. As far as the pandemic goes, those are Hall of Fame numbers. Because I remember everybody kept saying it's just a flu. A good flu would kill 30,000, 40,000 people. Now we're at 10 times that amount. All right. We had 3,400 dead plus in Kentucky, which isn't great, but if we would have had Matt Bevin again, it'd probably be triple that because
Be
he had that
Arizona,
vaccine.
basically.
Yeah, he would try to pray away the virus, which doesn't really work.
No, he
You know,
would blame the teachers for raping children and giving them the virus.
Yeah.
Like, guys, go to your churches, pray about this, and then just be like every church.
Yeah, en masse.
Well, the thing is, like, that always tickles me about really religious people, because if you're really sick and you're religious, well, why would you go to a hospital? Just go to a church. Like, I'm sure, like, whatever the hospital can do, God can do better, surely, right?
Well, surely you don't have health insurance. Like, why would you pay for that? It's waste your money.
I need to link you all. There's this thing called GOP Jesus, and it's hilarious. It's like a guy kind of dressed up as Jesus, and he's like walking around like outside with his followers, and it's just like let he who does not have health insurance die in agony and stuff like that. It's hilarious.
Also, fuck Rand Paul.
Oh yeah, God yeah.
He was talking about after you get the vaccine, like, you can just toss it away. You don't need your mask anymore. Go out there and celebrate by breathing and sharing that fresh air.
Yeah, because that's how it works.
Yeah. And like, I know he's a doctor. He's like an eye doctor, but he probably shouldn't be allowed to call himself doctor anymore. This is the shit he really believes. And reading his Twitter feed, you kind of understand why his neighbor beat the shit out of him. Not related. We had a college football game a couple weeks ago. Alabama versus Ohio State. Alabama won, which is not surprising. But the shocking thing was that after game celebration, thousands and thousands of people, elbow to elbow, asshole to asshole in the street, no mask, big super spreader event. Like, I looked up some statistics. Here's a correlation to the 2020 election. Trump won 60% of the vote in Alabama. To date, there are 421 positive COVID tests in Alabama and about 6,200 COVID deaths. Roll COVID, roll. But this does make me happy being in Lexington, because right now our basketball team kind of sucks. And at least I know that, like, in April, we don't have to worry about no super spreader events in the streets, because of us winning the NCAA title. We're good till next year. The last thing about the COVID thing that was pretty interesting was Bruce Willis was kicked out of a Rite Aid for not wearing a mask on the same day. It was the fifth year anniversary of Alan Rickman's death, which shows you who really was the more lovable person than Die Hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that. I saw a meme where it's like there's a picture of him actually in the store without the mask on. Someone took a picture of him, but it was like the lady's like, "Sir, you can't be in here without a mask," and he's like, "Do you know who I am?" She's like, "Yeah, because you're not wearing a mask."
Hey, Mr. Die Hard, put a fucking mask on.
Yeah.
Cunt. Excuse me. I got a sponsor today, guys. Is your breath kicking today? Try Vag Fresh Mints. When you want your breath to smell like a fresh vagina. Vag Fresh.
I saw that. What was that? What is that actual product?
It's a mint. Like, it comes in like one of those pieces of candy you pull apart and there's a candy in there. And it's a mint. I assume it's for breath mints. It made me laugh when I saw it.
Is it sold here?
I think it's like in France probably.
Okay. I didn't know if it was like a fucking vaginal depository. I thought maybe if you want your cooter to smell like a spearmint or something, you just put it in there for a couple seconds, let it dissolve.
Well, I don't know. Maybe your theory is just as good as Eddie's, Barry. I mean, I imagine. Could you imagine it's like some kind of Alka-Seltzer thing for your vagina? You just pop it in, it foams.
Terrifying.
and it's like the easy off oven cleaner shit.
I love it.
Okay. We had some crazy shit happen at the Capitol last week. Well, January 6th, a couple weeks ago now. Whole lot of arrests now, which is great, and a whole lot of just finger pointing. People were blaming Antifa, which doesn't make any sense. And one of the biggest problems that I saw is that Dan Crenshaw, who made that anti-Antifa video in support of the Georgian elections, he see where was he? He's supposed to spring to action, beat Antifa up. Where was he? Well, anyway,
That's weird. If it goes Antifa, they usually have a show of force against them there, but it's kind of weird they didn't.
Yeah, I love it's like, wait, Antifa stormed the Capitol and you all just stood back and watched them and let them do it?
I love the little cartoon of the guy. I think it's a little Trumper riding his bike, and he falls off his bike, and he's like Antifa.
Yeah. Or yeah, he puts a stick in his spokes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of horrific images from the Capitol storming. Everybody's boy Baked Alaska was live streaming the event. Are you guys familiar with this guy?
No.
No.
All right, he's an alt-right comedian, if you can call him a comedian. I mean, he gets arrested for his art. Like, he'll go into a store and they'll offer him a mask, and he'll throw it right in the clerk's face, and then he'll walk around the store, and the clerks will call the cops. The cops show up and go, "All right, sir, I'm placing you under arrest." He goes, "Why? I just want to buy this hat." It's like, "No, asshole. They asked you to leave. You wouldn't leave." He goes, "I'll just buy this hat and be all right." No, they're like, "No, it's that nickel spin, asshole."
I was just thinking when you said alt-right comedian, all I thought about was a Jerry Seinfeld, like, what's the deal with these N-words? And that's all I can picture an alt-right person doing. And then, like, the
Barry,
people are like, power. That's all I can picture a comedy show.
You're not far off. He one of his stunts. He goes into a store with a boombox, and it plays like this like a warning sound, like where, and it's just somebody saying the N-word over and over again really loud. And he's walking around the store like that, and everybody's looking at him, and he thinks it's the funniest thing in the world. But he live stormed the... Huh?
Is he black?
No.
Wow.
No, if you... I mean, I had a crystal ball to spin, I guess. I think I actually seen that article somewhere that talking about that incident.
He's fucking horrible. Like, also, like, the biggest star now is the QAnon shaman. Like, which is great, like, because, half Braveheart, half Viking, no mask, all COVID. One of the funnier things that I saw on Facebook about this guy was, one, a lot of my female friends were going kind of batty about it. They get kind of thirsty for the guy. And I'm thinking, like, this guy? This is the guy you want to, like, you want? Oh, well. But then, like, then they heard him talk, and they all kind of changed their minds about him. Because, like, he does sound pretty stupid.
And also, was like, he still lives with his parents. He's a failed wannabe actor, and then he also failed getting in the military. And when he was in prison or jail, I guess it was, he wouldn't eat because he has like a very strict like gluten-free or vegan diet or some shit.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because they got it for him, and it's like I saw a thing where they're like talking about how I think it was like Jewish people were in prison and they're like, we can't eat pork, and they were like, yeah, just pick the bologna off the sandwich and eat the bread.
Or my thing is like they were stripping immigrants of uteruses at the border, like just give them forced hysterectomies. But this fucking QAnon Viking asshole, he can't have soy, so they have to change the prison menu for him.
Yeah.
One of the funnier things that I saw, my friend Megan posted the video of a guy dressed up like him, and he's doing Eminem song that he did with that chick singer. I can't remember her name. About like the fan that was obsessed and killed himself.
Yeah.
Oh, Dido.
Yeah. Like it was like, I guess you're too busy to pardon people, Mr. Trump.
The best thing with the Viking guy, though, there was a meme on Facebook today that was about when you ask for organic meat in prison, and it's just him with a large black man behind him.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Okay, because of the events at the Capitol, Parler got shut down, and Trump finally got his Twitter account, like, permanently, I was going to say suspended, but, like, suspended means you get a chance to get it back. I guess just permanently deleted.
Big Psycho of the Week.
Which is, I'm mixed feelings about that because I like free speech and I really don't like censorship, for the most part. But I got suspended last year on Facebook because I accidentally posted a cartoon picture of Dennis Rodman's penis. Now, it'd be different if I went and searched Dennis Rodman penis in a Google search engine and posted it to Facebook. But it was in Facebook's GIF pictures catalog thing.
Nice.
It was from their own website. And I had no chance to appeal myself. There was nothing that I couldn't find anybody to talk to. I just had to quietly sit there for 24 hours while they took away my rights on Facebook, which is a private company.
Yeah.
Now, ironically, this is something that whenever a baker refuses to service to a gay couple, the same assholes on Parler will be like, "Hey, it's a free market. You can refuse service to anybody you want."
Yeah.
If the religious freedoms and all that stuff. And Trump violated the service many, many times. Like the comedian Ari Shaffir made a joke about killing his friend Bert Kreischer. He got permanently suspended from Twitter. Trump threatened countries.
Yeah, I mean, he violated it multiple times, and Twitter always said, we're leaving this in because it's important for history. And then after the Capitol riots, it was like, all right, this is too much. But go ahead.
Well, no, and also, from what I understand, that whole net neutrality thing that the FCC, tried to take away, did they take it away or did they install it?
To be honest, I don't.
I can't remember which one. I think they took it away because I think the net neutrality makes it to where they can't impose their will upon you.
Well, that's the thing. Whichever way that Trump and them wanted it, if it was the other way, from what I understand, Parler couldn't have been shut down. But what are you gonna do? See what we got here.
Well, did you see where Parler is being hosted in Russia now?
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking
Yeah.
jackasses. Let's see what else happened. Our soon-to-be inaugurated president here shortly, he did something pretty sneaky. In Georgia, there was an election, and he promised $2,000 stimulus checks. All right? He said $2,000 stimulus checks so these guys win, which is he was trying to make a safe bet. Excuse me. Because I don't think he thought that they were going to win. But they won, and now he's doing a great bait and switch used car salesman thing by saying, "Okay, you guys got to get your checks for $1,400." And everybody's like, "What? You said $2,000?" He goes, "Yeah, $600 that Trump gave you plus the $1,400 that I gave you. That's $2,000, which is really shady."
I think that's what he always meant, but
the thing is, if I got that impression and everybody else got that impression on Twitter, he should have clarified that beforehand.
yeah,
You want to know why he didn't want to clarify that beforehand? Because he's hoping that nobody would pay attention, or that he could get away with it. That's another reason why I don't particularly like this man. Fuck him. There's something that was amusing to me. It has nothing to really do with the news, but there's a couple people on Twitter. Every time Eric or Donald Trump Jr. posts does a post, they post that new picture of Melania on their Twitter feed, and that's got to be somewhat uncomfortable. That that they write what they think is some kind of slam dunk home run tweet, and then they have to look down and see their nude mother-in-law.
yep.
Kyle Rittenhouse, your boy, now 18, was spotted in the bar flashing white power signs with the Proud Boys, which makes sense.
And what did his shirt say?
I don't remember what it said.
Free as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck him. I don't know why that bar hasn't been shut down and how this isn't a violation of bond, but we now know that we have a two-tiered... Well, we knew before we had a two-tiered system. Now this confirms it.
But what I want to know is where was he at during the Capitol riots? Why wasn't he protecting our nation there? Where's the hero when you need him?
Yeah.
Well, last night there's a slew of pardons that Trump tried to get in before, surprisingly, he pardoned Steve Bannon, who he had kind of a rough breakup with.
Yeah.
But he didn't pardon Julian Assange, didn't pardon Reality Winner, didn't pardon Edward Snowden. So, fuck him.
He didn't pardon his family members or Giuliani, though.
Man, the thing is, there's got to be a reason why he didn't do that shit. Because I know executive order. Did you all see that shit?
Say it again. You kind of cut out on me on my side.
All right. When he first got in, he had an executive order where like people couldn't become lobbyists for 5 years, like the past administrations or whatever. And then like he undid that last night. That was one of the last actions he did. So basically, like his idea of draining the swamp was protecting the swamp for him and his friends, and like he protected the yard for them. Now he's gone. Man, we're so much better off without him, but I don't know how much better off we are with this asshole coming in.
I'd say a lot better. Nobody's perfect. No one's ever going to be perfect, but
Biden's a fucking asshole. Like it pisses me off that like if you see Biden and Kamala Harris standing next to each other, and in my mind I think that could be Bernie and Nina Turner right now. We could have and it's sort of like if you order Coke at a restaurant and they bring you like Flat Dr. K.
I thought you were going to say when you saw them standing next to each other, you just feel like rabid sexual tension.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mostly Kamala's like I want those old bones all up on me.
Yeah.
That saggy skin.
So I've been watching this. It's been on throughout the morning, and I don't recall an election or an inauguration. God, maybe Herbert Walker. Where like the grandchildren were like a big play. Like Biden at 78, like I'm seeing more coverage about, I mean, yes, Hunter is a stain right now, but like there's more coverage about the grandkids than I have ever seen at a presidential inauguration. Like usually it's like, let's talk to the son and the daughter, but like there's a lot of grandkids in the coverage. I thought that was pretty funny and telling based on the advanced age of our president.
Well, it's like I mean, not really what you're saying, but I remember seeing like there was pictures of when the Obamas welcomed the Trumps to the White House, and yeah, that ain't happening this time.
Well,
Trump stuck tail and ran.
A big problem that we have with this country, and we're going to have it as long as he's president, is we have 4 dudes that were from the same generation, that were born around the same time, that were in charge. And that's the most, like that boomer generation has been the most represented generation in politics ever.
Of course, we've been the same with Bernie.
Huh?
Generation-wise, would have been the same with Bernie.
Well, yeah. Well, it's the thing. Like, just about anybody that wants to be president is that age at this point. Like Obama was like like the anomaly of the thing, because like Clinton, George W, Trump, and Biden they're all around the same age, and like Hillary and Pelosi and I think Chuck Schumer's around that same age. That's why everything's so fucked up, because when you're that age right now, you're supposed to be retired. You're not supposed to be fucking working. Like, like you're supposed to be you're supposed to be watching TV all day yelling about how things used to be. Not trying to actively make things how they used to be, because that's an impossible task.
Well, I mean, on the bright side, we might get a youngin' like Matt Gaetz as president next term, right? That'll be sweet.
No.
Oh boy.
Or Jim Jordan, or I think Josh Hawley burned his. Man, I saw where Trump's talking about starting his own party. I can't remember what the name. It was some terrible name.
The Patriot Party.
Yeah, the Patriot Party. And it's like, dude, like, you basically hand the win to the Democrats forever if he does that.
But see, the only thing that's great about that is it gives leverage to the far left. Like the party of AOC could possibly stretch its wings. You know,
there's
Bernie,
no way. They're not that dumb.
If this happened in 2016, Bernie could have split from the DNC and ran and buried Hillary. We could have had a 4-party system.
I think that they will, if they're smart. And like I said, I'm a Republican. I still wish we could have a good Republican to get behind. If Trump does that, why would they split off? That would just make a tight race again. If Trump did that, then they can just win forever.
Yeah. I'm just saying, but in the next 4 years, if things continue to get how they're going, Pelosi's going to lose power. The Democrat Party can split as well. There's a chance that it's going to split regardless of whatever happens to Trump's. So,
it would be nice, but it would be a death sentence.
No.
Not necessarily. Yes, it'd be a lot easier. You're right. It'd be a lot easier if they just ran. They could run a vanilla candidate and another center candidate and get the votes. But people are burned, man. They're tired of. They're already tired of Biden. They're mad that they had.
I don't think you'd even need a center candidate. I think you could get a pretty far left candidate, and the Republican side will be so split.
I don't think that they're. I don't think the DNC will push it. I don't think they'll push a liberal candidate.
No, the thing is, there's too much corporate money in the DNC.
Yeah.
And they're never going to allow anybody, like, as great as it would be to have, like, I have problems with them right now because they didn't kind of force their hand with voting for Pelosi. Like, it'd be great to have AOC as like the first female president, but they'll never let her get that far as long as she's still in that fucking party. They need to make their own party where they need a hostile take. If they get rid of all those old farts, make things a lot better.
You almost said hostile takeover. It's it's poor choice of words right now.
That's all right.
I'm probably missing a jam right here. Gaga can get down. I'm gonna watch that later.
What's wild about that is I bet you my mom's probably watching this right now. She used to hate Lady Gaga just because she always wore goofy shit.
Yeah,
and she didn't quite understand what the gimmick was. I'm like, Mom, she's just doing what David Bowie did, what Elton John did.
Yeah, exactly.
And she goes, no, I just don't like it. It's tacky. And I'm like, and then she did the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and my mom fell in love with her after that. And I think because she listened to Fleetwood Mac, that the mom liked her too.
What's we got on the list there, Will?
See the list. Go back to the list. We had a couple previous bitch suckers of the week that I want to get through. Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, Rudy Giuliani, who's I believe a 3-time winner now, and finally Ted Cruz, because Ted Cruz kind of instigated this whole thing that happened at the Capitol. He got those motherfuckers laddered up, and and it's funny too. Trump had that great speech, right, where he got everybody amped up. He goes, "We're gonna march to the Capitol," and everybody started marching to the Capitol, and he got in a limo, and he went the other way. And just sat and watched the Capitol basically burn.
He was going to lead the charge to the Capitol, I believe.
Yeah.
They had talked to somebody in the crowd, and they're like, "Yeah, he's up in the front." They bought the hook, line, and sinker that he was literally marching at the front with them.
There's some old white man up there. It must be Trump. Well, real quick, because I had posted this in something else. Some of the crap he said was, "Our country's had enough. We will not take it anymore," and that's what this is all about. To use a favorite term that all of you people really came up with, we will stop the steal. We will fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. That's a big one, in my opinion. That puts fear in these idiots' minds. Oh my God, we're not going to have a country. We got to do this. We want to go back, and we want to get this right, because we're going to have somebody in there that should not be in there, and our country will be destroyed, and we're not going to stand for that. Even Mitch McConnell came out yesterday and said that Trump incited the riot.
he's doing damage work because he wants to salvage wherever he can of the Republican Party. Here we got a history in the making right now with Kamala Harris. Not the kind of history that you would think about, the first woman of color to take the vice presidency. She's the first vice president that ran in the primary that didn't get a single delegate. They didn't like her because she's horrible. She's horrible. She's horrible because she's a fucking cop. She put people in jail. She went after the weakest in society. She went after single mothers and truant kids that were poor and underprivileged. And what she did was she got kids in the system early, and she went after the people that need the most help in society, single women of color that were raising children. So fuck her. She's officially our vice president, I guess. There's what do you call her first
First lady.
Her husband.
Vice first man? I don't know.
Yeah, that was always. I never knew what. I don't know what's the opposite of what's the word you use? Opposite lady. Gentleman? First gentleman?
Yeah, that's probably proper. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just saw Mike Pence again, and like that.
That's such
evil,
a stupid haircut.
Well, it'd be great if that fly just landed on his head again.
Yeah. You should at least have fun with it. Put a fake fly up there, just
He doesn't. I don't think he probably would lash himself like a belt if he even like laughed inappropriately at something.
Yeah.
Will, I don't know if it was you or for somebody on Twitter that I was following, but was it you that posted that if Trump had a sense of humor, he would have pardoned Hillary?
No, I didn't. But that is a good one.
I was on the toilet laughing out loud on that one.
That would have been an admission of guilt if she took it.
Isn't that
Well,
great? I mean, obviously she's been in jail for the last 4 years. Obviously.
Who's coming through the double doors?
J-Lo.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, they had Gaga, but then they could have got other real singers.
I've always heard like what a shitty person she is and diva, but whatever.
She's really good in the movie Out of Sight.
I'm still a fan of Help Me Out. Her and Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh, The Cell?
The Cell. God, I love The Cell.
Yeah, that's a cool movie.
Is it
He was
Tarzan
good in
that
that.
directs that?
I'm not sure who.
He does that. And he does The Fall, which didn't get the
That's
greatest.
an awesome movie.
Man, it's a beautiful movie.
Yeah, it's just a great movie too.
Is it the movie about the high school teacher with the kids?
No.
No, The Fall is Derek, how do you describe The Fall?
So The
It's
Fall
amazing.
is there's a guy and a little girl in like a hospital. It's back in like what the 30s, probably something like that.
20s, 30s.
And I think she broke her arm and he broke his leg, and he's like a washed up actor druggie or something, but he tells her all these fantastical stories, and it goes into them and like they're real, and it's an amazingly beautiful film. Like I'm definitely surprised you haven't seen that. You definitely need to put that like near the top of your list. It's such a cool movie.
I mean, if you like the sales visuals, I mean, like this one just makes it look like a little bitch. I mean, it's just absolutely visually striking. I mean, I remember the movie being interesting to watch. It wasn't like just some slacked script or anything. It's a good movie, but yeah, the visuals really just take it over.
I was a fan of the movie U-Turn when she got naked.
Okay.
She's naked in U-Turn?
Yeah,
I don't remember that. I that's something I would have remembered.
with good old Sean Penn and
John Voight?
Yeah, John Voight.
John Voight gets naked?
And Nick Nolte. I think she's naked with Nick Nolte.
No.
That'd
That'd be great.
John
That'd be
Voight.
great
Do
if you're
you all
Brad
think...
Pitt or Johnny Depp, like a high-end, well-loved movie star, and you wait till you're like 80 for your last role, and you just get fucking full frontal nude. That'd be so fucking funny. These women are like, I wish I could,
Well, I don't know if you saw the second It movie. There was like the naked old lady in it, and it was just funny. Like they're someone's doing an interview with her, and she was like, "Yeah, it's like I called my granddaughter up, and I'm like, yeah, they want me to be in this It movie, but they want me to be naked." And her granddaughter's like, "Oh, you got to do it." And
How do you take those roles? Like, how do they advertise those? They're like, we want to find the most gnarliest, disgusting, obese person to get naked.
yeah,
And you're like, that's for me. That's the role for me.
It's shit. Man, I remember like we used to have to watch these in school, like the few times we watched them. Also, like my friend Jeremy and I've told the story before, but it's well worth telling. We were whenever I think 92, 93 was when Clinton got inaugurated, right?
Yeah.
We were watching it at Simon's Middle School. We had the little TV that was mounted on a wall where they showed Channel 1 news and stuff like that, that bullshit. And he asked a question, and he goes, "Why doesn't any president just make a make a bunch of trouble before they leave?" And the teacher goes, "Well, that's why we don't let little boys like Jeremy Davis be in charge." And that teacher owes Jeremy an apology, even though Jeremy's passed away, because that's exactly what we live through right now. Biden's got all kinds of fires he's got to put out. There's no honeymoon period for him. He's probably got to go start working once he gets sworn in.
yeah, they said he's going to do like 15 executive orders the day he starts. But back by what you're saying, Will, I can't help but think that if I look at your stats, you have a +1 to kidnapping. So we should probably kidnap that teacher and take him to Jeremy's headstone and be like, "You apologize right now."
She's probably not alive anymore. I mean, I can dig her up. I mean,
go steal her headstone and take it to Jeremy's and pantomime like, "I'm sorry, Jeremy."
Yeah.
+1 to kidnapping.
Now they're swearing him in. Do we have much news left, or should we just go ahead and start turning up the volume, or what?
You go ahead and turn the volume up.
Do a little Christian Slater action here. Why am I not seeing? Why is my
Christian Slater?
Pump up the volume, Derek.
Pump up the volume, dude.
Okay.
There it goes.
Harry Hardon?
You paused it.
President of the United States, and will, to the best of my ability,
Hey, say your name, Will.
to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend,
You turn it up a bit.
protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the United States. So help you God. So help me
I was like, "Is there?" I didn't realize he was repeating the guy. I was like, "Why is it off? The audio off?" I just can't wait to oh my god, look, they're not wearing masks right now.
Yeah, super spreader.
To the right, tries to bastardize this, which
And my jam.
I do kind of wonder what's going on with the people that I didn't really knew existed, but they do, that 110% think that Trump's gonna be president again. Believe it. Not even joking, not in the slightest bit joking. Think this isn't going to happen. Biden, they scream with all caps that Biden will never be president.
Trying to figure out.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Yes, sitting down.
Yeah, I was standing up this entire time. I'm sitting down now.
What's going on? Did they walk him back just so he can walk down?
I think Joe Biden's having a moment. He's supposed to be talking. He just sat down. He's just going to be looking around going, "Hey, what's happening now?"
Joe, it's your turn. Get up there. They should have in the corner. They should have in the corner of the screen, just a video feed of Pence at all times. Although really it wouldn't be that great. More like Trump would be better, because I don't think Pence is as much. I think Pence is so glad to be out of this.
Yeah.
Is that Bill Clinton?
Yeah.
Man, he looks like crap.
Oh yeah, he's aged bad in the last handful of years.
Now, far be it for me to talk about anybody's looks, but that dude hung out with Jeffrey Epstein, so fuck him.
Well, I'm sure it's why he aged so much because Jeffrey Epstein got arrested. But then his aging stopped once Epstein hung himself. But now Ghislaine I saw a good thing. They were like, "Oh, what if Trump pardons Ghislaine Maxwell?"
A moment we have all been waiting for.
Fill the global charge.
You got 9 minutes until noon.
Honor to be the first person to officially introduce
President Joe Biden beat you.
President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden Jr.
So the people that truly think Trump's still going to be president, like, what are they thinking? Like, they think that she was going to pull a got him and be like, President Trump, then the cameras are going to switch to where Trump's hunkering down in Florida. And like, oh, I want to get her.
He should have went with RR
Justice Roberts.
as a Rough Rider. Joseph Rough Rider Biden. He should have added the extra R.
The best thing that I saw was how great it'd be if
Peter Schumer.
the very beginning of this thing, he's like, well, that was weird.
Pence.
Like the last 4 years.
Ugh.
My fellow Americans.
The R rapist.
Day.
Turn up a little bit more.
This is Democracy Day.
Yeah.
Day of history and hope. Of renewal and resolve. Through a crucible for the ages, America has been tested anew. And America has risen to the challenge. Today, we celebrate the triumph not of a candidate, but of a cause. The cause of democracy.
Where's this cool, like, aviator shades?
The will of the people has been heard, and the will of the people has been heeded. We've learned again that democracy is precious. Democracy is fragile. And at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed. So now, on this hallowed ground where just a few days ago, violence sought to shake the Capitol's very foundation, come together as one nation, under God, indivisible, to carry out the peaceful transfer of power as we have for more than 2 centuries. As we look ahead in our uniquely American way, restless, bold, optimistic, and set our sights on the nation we know we can be and we must be. I thank my predecessors of both parties for their presence here today. I thank them from the bottom of my heart. And I know
At least she wasn't president.
the units of our Constitution and the strength of our nation, as does
Was it Hillary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
last night who cannot be with us today.
She's partially to blame for the past 4 years. She could have had it if she just would have went, you know what?
To those,
I don't like Bernie,
those patriots,
but I'm going to make him my vice president.
the oath were sworn.
Yeah, I'll always say that the Democrats lost that election. The Republicans didn't win it. Like,
Friends, not
she
an
ran around acting like she won it from the beginning. And
some of us.
Well, she campaigned by not campaigning, while Trump was barnstorming, doing 16 speeches in a 3-day period, hopped up on Sudafed and meth.
Over the centuries, through storm and strife, in peace and in war, we've come so far, but we still have far to go.
do any of you all have like a
Press forward,
small bit of fear something bad's going to happen?
new
I don't.
winter of peril.
I did. Now I'm like, yeah.
Much to repair, much to restore, much to heal, much to build, and much to gain. Few people in our nation's history
I think Trump cries.
were found in time more challenging
Oh, yeah, he probably cried when he lost Twitter.
than the time we're in now. Once in a century virus that silently stalks the country.
I wonder if that orange shit runs like mascara on Trump. He cries.
War II. Millions of jobs have been lost. Hundreds of thousands of businesses closed. A cry for racial justice, some 400 years in the making, moves us. The dream of justice for all will be deferred no longer.
Yeah, it'd be great if the guy who wrote the crime bill wasn't president. But you know what you gotta do.
A cry that can't be any more desperate or any more clear. And now, a rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism that we must confront and we will defeat. To overcome these challenges, to restore the soul and secure the future of America, requires so much more than words. It requires the most elusive of all things in a democracy: unity. Unity. In another January,
Unity Engine?
on New Year's Day in 1863, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. When he put pen to paper, the president said, and I quote, "If my name ever goes down into history, it'll be for this act, and my whole soul is in it." My whole soul is in it. Today, on this January day, my whole soul is in this. Bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation. And I ask
Behind.
every American to join me in this cause.
I wonder how he feels about Shinobi.
Uniting
Who?
those
Or how Biden feels about Shinobi.
and hatred.
I see him as a big Mega Drive Genesis guy. He's one of those snobby guys. He doesn't call it the Genesis. He calls it the Mega Drive.
Dude,
Yeah.
he had a fucking turbo graphics.
With unity.
I miss and I love the pictures of him like washing his like 70s Camaro and like jean shorts.
Wow, we can teach our
It's so great.
Coochie cutters.
Yeah.
We can reward work and rebuild the middle class and make healthcare secure for all. We can deliver racial justice and we can make America once again the leading force for good in the world.
Oh, I thought he was going to say great again.
I know speaking of music, it sounds to some like a foolish fantasy these days. I know the
That-
force of
Mitch?
black and deep,
He's a fucking haircut.
they are real. But I also know
Or his ass beat.
Ours has been a constant struggle between the American ideal that we're all are created equal and the harsh, ugly reality that racism, nativism, fear, demonization have long torn us apart. The battle is perennial and victory is never assured. Through Civil War, the Great Depression, World War, 9/11, through struggle, sacrifice, and setbacks, our better angels have always prevailed. In each of these moments, enough of us have come together to carry
Prince.
all of us forward. And we can do that now.
Who's a good Republican, Derek?
Faith and reason.
I always forget his name. Who was the guy that like spoke on Biden's
Paper,
campaign thing?
with dignity
I know
and respect.
You and my dad both like
Enjoy
Kasich.
person,
Yeah, Kasich.
stop the shouting.
Like I said, not perfect, but like he was heads and tails a million times better than any other candidate that was up there at the time.
See, I'm trying to go back in history to a Republican I liked. I don't think there's been one during my lifetime that I was a fan of that was a politician.
Only a state of chaos.
Except Bud Dwyer, just because of his resignation, though.
I never had any problems with Herbert, with
Is the path
Bush Senior.
I did. CIA guy, man.
I still like him. As people get older, I'm like, they're fun.
Yeah, but as he got older, he started like filling up little girls.
Yeah, David Copperfield.
ever fail.
I'm not as shitty as that is to do to a young nurse. I'm more concerned about that whole CIA shit that, like, you know, because
In this place,
he was a big daddy at the CIA.
all of us.
What about Ross
It's-
Perot? Ross Perot was pretty awesome.
He wasn't a Republican.
Says he was.
He was a libertarian that like ran third party.
Politics doesn't have to be a raging fire, destroying everything in its path. Every disagreement doesn't have to be a cause for total war.
I love one of the big things for
which facts that
Crazy Right is they talk about how senile and
and even
everything
manufactured.
he is, but like I see no problem with him giving speeches. He gets stammering up a little bit, which part of that's probably where he had what is it called?
America
I
has
mean,
to be
he has the
better
stutter issue.
Well, he stutters.
Yeah,
And he
stutters.
Had some kind, did he have an aneurysm or something like that?
I don't know, but I mean he's also old. You expect old people in general to get stammered up on their words and shit. But yeah, I don't see like complete crazy senility in him at all.
Nah.
And you could easily point that back to Trump when he goes on his rants and he just starts saying like all kinds of weird shit that makes no sense.
Here we stand. We're 108.
Well, he never made sense. That if you go back to like when he was talking when he got inaugurated,
Marching.
he was talking about just like what got like like he was gonna do the deficit, lower taxes, and do all this other stuff. Which, if you think about it, you can't do all those things at the same time.
Don't tell me.
And so, like, hey, we're gonna have all you can eat pizza, finish it off with ice cream, and you're gonna lose weight by not exercising.
Well, he knows that, but the stupid people that listen to him are like, "Oh yeah, that sounds great."
But that bothers me, just like how stupid people are, and we have no reason to be this fucking stupid.
Just days after a riotous
We have
use violence.
the world encyclopedia in our pockets if you have a cell phone.
The work of our democracy.
Yeah, I mean it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna rebuild all of our roads and all of our bridges and make them super fancy and solar powered, but we're also gonna lower taxes. Like, huh?
Not tomorrow. Not
How does that work?
ever.
I love how people get so up on like lower taxes. Like,
I'm humbled.
I must be one of the few people. It's like, yeah, sure, increase taxes. Not a lot, a little bit, and make my life better.
Hear me out as we move forward.
We talk about like universal health care. People forget that they wouldn't be paying. They're paying more in taxes, but they're not paying for insurance.
Yeah.
Peaceably.
And it's like that's something I've kind of come around to after like I read the story about this American that they're in New Zealand or some shit. I can't remember which country it was, and they got in like a bad accident and they went into the hospital and like had surgery on their arm and all this shit. And then like on their way out, they went to the counter and they're like, "What are you doing?" And it's like, "I'm here to pay. Like you don't pay for anything here." And you just like leave. It's like, holy crap, that'd be so awesome.
It's like, hey asshole, you're taking up space in our goddamn hospital. Get your shit and go. Come on, you got your service. Leave.
I mean, it's like I went to the ER one time and had my insurance and my insurance card. And for whatever reason, the ER visit at the hospital is separate from the doctor that saw me in the ER. Two different bills. And for some reason, my insurance didn't go through to the doctor. So I kept getting these things saying like, "Oh, you owe $1,200 to this doctor." Like, fuck that, I ain't paying that. And so I had to work with my insurance company. And
Weeks and months.
insurance like, "Oh yeah, we'll take care of it," and they never really did. And by the time they took care of it, it already went to collections. And when I went to try to get a loan for a house, it fucking impacted my credit score by 1 point to keep me from getting to a better bracket. So 1 point kept me from getting a better loan.
Leaders who have pledged to honor our Constitution.
Well, it's so shitty that you can go bankrupt just because your body's like, you know what? We're gonna start attacking ourselves. we're gonna make our cells are gonna make cancer in you for no reason whatsoever.
Had nothing to do with your actions.
Yeah, people think that you have to smoke to get cancer, but you can be perfectly healthy. Christopher Reeve's wife died of lung cancer and she never smoked.
I mean, one of my good friends, his 5-year-old daughter has childhood leukemia. She definitely didn't do anything to get that.
Well, I mean, it's so every other goddamn civilized country in the world has health Medicare for all, or universal health care. We can't get it done here. How fucking stupid are we?
And it's like the stimulus that, what was it? Canada was getting $800 $1,200 a month, I think it was, something crazy. And it's like we're the richest country in the world, and we act like we have no money when it comes to helping people.
Well, the politicians protect it like it's their money.
Are you peeing?
Huh?
Are you peeing?
No. I was pouring water into a cup.
Okay.
A bottle.
Shit, if you can do it, go for it.
No, I was pouring. I usually drink out of the fucking gallon jug, but I'm trying to be civilized.
Now that Biden's president, you got to be. You're calling for unity, and you're drinking out a cup.
Yes.
This way, the country will be stronger, more prosperous, more ready for the future. And we can still disagree. My fellow Americans, in the work ahead of us, we're going to need each other. We need all our strength to persevere through this dark winter. We're
I
entering
feel like
the toughest and deadliest period of the virus.
dictionaries when you get to the word "cuck," it should show a picture of Lindsey Graham.
This pandemic has one
Is
nation.
there a bigger cuck in the entire world?
See,
I promise you this,
well, they just kind of showed
we may endure for a night.
Cory Booker. Did y'all see him a second ago?
We will get
Cory Booker is
together.
dating Rosario Dawson,
together.
who
Yeah.
remains one of the most beautiful women on the planet.
Uh-huh.
And they had a weird thing going on because
Send it up there.
she voted for Bernie during the primary, even though she was dating Cory Booker.
All of us today.
Cory Booker's a throwaway vote.
Goes beyond our borders. America has been tested, and we've come out stronger for it. We will repair our alliances and engage with the world once again. Not to meet yesterday's challenges, but today's and tomorrow's challenges.
Dow Joe 033003.
Not merely by the example of our power, but by the power of our example.
That's going to be like a textbook thing right there.
Trusted partner for-
Where's the million MAGA people that are supposed to like stampede this event?
See, I was thinking, we thought that was going to be a big deal, and that's kind of why we hosted this today. But then we started
There's
thinking about,
goddamn it. I'm sorry to cut you off, Barry, but I just saw him and I got pissed off. He
Those 4,000
Who?
fellow Americans,
We lost you, Will.
wives, sons, daughters, friends,
Okay, we can hear you now.
they just showed Bernie. It breaks my. He should be speaking right now.
we're asking
Just fucking like how am I giving everybody health care? We're gonna make things good.
What if
Punch
Bernie?
anybody in the face and get some away.
What if Bernie went up there and tackled Biden and was like, "I'm president now," and did like the Richard Nixon like? Would you be okay with that, Will?
Yeah. It'd be great. That's how the presidency worked. Like it's like a reverse tag.
Yeah.
raging virus,
I'm the president now.
growing inequity,
Did he put Bernie in one of his positions?
climate and crisis.
No.
America's role in the world. Any one
What
of
pissed me off is
these ways.
he had political capital, Bernie. Even though he was losing, he could have said, "You know what? I'll drop out. Here's 5 things I want done in the first 100 days: legalize pot, healthcare. Like you promised me these, and I'll drop out right now, and you get my full endorsement." But they didn't do that. He just gave him his full endorsement. He kept saying he was his good friend.
So if they legalize pot federally, how does that work for the states?
How we resolve these cascading
I
crises.
don't- It's so stupid. It's so stupid that pot's not legal federally now.
Will be mastered.
It should have been legal like in '96.
So stupid it's not legal here in Kentucky, where like
Long. A new and better.
we would not have any budget problems.
I believe we must. I'm sure you do as well.
All those tobacco fields that haven't been used in 20 years
We'll write the
are
next
perfect to grow pot in.
Well, I've always heard that like we have the perfect land in Kentucky for growing pot. I've also always heard that we were the #1 exporter of marijuana. Under the table. I mean, we already had massive marijuana fields in Kentucky. Not legal.
It kind of pisses me off because I've never been able to find one, and I've kind of looked for them. I was like, you know what? I want to find a pot field and just pluck a couple bushes for myself.
When we were like young teenagers, me and a buddy found one that was like we had gone through these woods to where they were developing these houses, and there was one out there. It wasn't huge, and like a week later we went out there, it was fucking all gone. They pulled it all up because, like I said, they were getting ready to start developing houses out there. But yeah, you're not going to find them really in Lexington. You go to some of these smaller.
Well, I looked around Fleming County. And I heard that there were pot fields there, and I got mad. I was like, where are they?
Yeah, I think I told you when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, we had a big field in the back of our house. My dad called me one day. He's like, hey, we just got a call. They suspect there's some pot, and maybe other things growing in that field. So these two undercovers are going to come to the house. So if you see someone walking in the backyard, if there's two guys, don't worry about it. And they come fucking dressed how you would think an undercover cop would look in a Cheech and Chong.
Yeah.
So bad.
Hi, fellow young kids.
Do you know where I can get some cannabis?
Like a white dude with a Run DMC shirt on or something.
Yeah. What if I had like a bad wig and like a headband?
Yeah.
It's bad.
Or how Bob Hope used to dress up like a hippie. Like
I was gonna say, well, it's probably best you didn't find one because I have a relative that knew where one was. It was back in the, I guess, late '80s, early '90s, and him and a buddy went out to the field, supposedly to fish because they were in like a little boat going down this like creek or whatever. But the marijuana field was protected by a sniper. The sniper popped him in the head and shot his buddy. His buddy fell out of the boat and went down the creek and got away and survived. But yeah.
May God bless America and may God protect our troops. Thank you, America.
I don't hear you clapping, Will.
I'm not happy about this.
That's weird.
What's going to end up happening?
Or rape any kids or anything. It was weird. I was expecting all of that.
Yeah. Well, what sucks is that they have control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and they're not going to get anything done. And that $2,000 thing is going to come back and bite them in the ass. Oh shit! I'm gonna talk. Be quiet. You see who's coming out?
Ladies and gentlemen, please.
Oh shit! It's your boy.
Really? Garth Brooks? I mean, he's.
Oh yeah.
He's actually an extremely talented singer. He has like a really good vocal range.
I grew up liking some Garth. I used to like some Garth.
Yeah. I can't really fault him.
Not
Is that
me.
like Biden's
Fuck 'em.
pick or something?
As far as country music goes, his era is the worst era ever of country music.
Oh God, no.
Because like
No, the last 10 years has been the worst era in country music.
oh man,
This solo project was awesome though, right?
Chris Gaines.
Yeah. So weird.
there's probably a bunch of fucking Mackie guys that are seeing this right now going, "What, him? They got him?
Yeah.
Fuck!"
You got him too.
I think that they're all waiting for like, all right, is Garth our sleeper cell unit that's going to turn and pull a gun out from his jacket?
Yeah, there's your Manchurian candidate right there.
Where's Lindsey Graham? Is he here? Is that piece of shit here?
He's probably
Oh,
Nick's
sure.
probably sitting on his face.
We've no less days
Uh-oh.
to sing God's praise than when we first begun. If I can ask you to sing this last verse with me, not just the people here, but the people at home.
Yeah, Will.
Work
You too.
as one. United.
Me. Oh, me so horny. Oh, me so.
Baby got back. That'd be so awesome if they got
Sir Mix-a-Lot?
Sir Mix-a-Lot to come out here and do "Baby Got Back," and then like all the old people in the stand just started fucking getting down.
One of the best jokes ever in Futurama was Fry was listening to Sir Mix-a-Lot, and Leela goes, "Why are you sitting in the dark listening to classical music?"
I just love when he gets the Lucy Liu bot, and they think it's crazy that he just wants to sit around and make out with them all day.
There's super spreader Garth Brooks, no fucking mask,
Yeah.
hugging and touching everything.
Got to put the cowboy hat back on.
Should have come out like like Orville Peck. You know who Orville Peck is?
Orville Redenbacher?
No, he's like an alt country. He's like a gay alt country singer that wears it's like a mask with tassels. It's pretty badass. You have to check him out.
Who was the rapper that Trump pardoned?
He pardoned a bunch of them. Lil Wayne was one of them.
It's so weird.
That same song at Mother Emanuel Church. The song that in our culture is supposed to both poetry and prayer possibly come.
A couple years ago, I'll share this with you in the podcast audience. I don't know what the statute of limitations is on bad taste. When I was watching the Trump inauguration with my mom and Obama passed it off, she said one of the funniest things I've ever heard. It would have been great, is when they passed it off, if Obama went Allah Akbar and he had a suicide vest and pulled it and hugged Trump, and Trump's last words were, "I was right!" But it didn't happen.
Dr. Biden, Madam Vice President, Mr. Emhoff, Americans, and the world. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace. In the norms and notions of what just isn't always just is. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country
Who's this?
to all culture.
Her name is Amanda Gorman, and
character
she's a poet.
of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first. We must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true. that even as we grieved, we grew, that even as we hurt, we hoped, that even as we tired, we tried, that we'll forever be tied together, victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promised glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare it, because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared it at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So, while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be, a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by...
What you thinking, Barry?
The closed caption just said bruised butthole versus butthole. And I'm a child, so I laughed.
Become their burdens, but one thing is certain.
Who's got a bruised butthole?
Merge mercy.
Say what?
And might with
Said who's got a bruised butthole?
Comes our legacy.
What do you all think of? What's your all's take on poetry?
So let us leave behind a country better than
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know. For some reason, I think poetry, like poems, should rhyme. Maybe that's childish thinking. But, like, you know, I
we will rise from the windswept northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed of the Midwest.
I think it's better if it rhymes.
Rise from the sun.
Same with music, when the lyrics on a song rhyme.
Cover in every known nook.
I don't need it to rhyme. I just feel like it's poetry's so broad that there's some that are just some that can move you and some that's just like so shitty that I mean it's like it's any writing really.
Out of the shade of flame and unafraid, the new dawn blooms as we free it. For there was always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it.
Now for our benediction, I'm pleased to introduce Reverend Dr. Sylvester Beeman, the pastor of the Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Wilmington, Delaware, a friend of President Biden for 30 years.
Oh, while this nonsense is going on, Betty White turned 99 over the weekend. Did y'all hear about that?
Yeah.
And it's something that's bothered me for a lot. It happened a couple years ago with Kirk Douglas, when he was the oldest living actor, and he finally died at 102, right? And whenever there's whoever's the longest living human, they focus on.
Let us unite in prayer.
And it's almost like we're waiting for them to die. If you're religious, it's like you're like, hey God, you forgot something, and God's like he turns around, and you forgot to turn the oven off. He goes, okay, well, shit, better get that person. And everybody's gonna be sad when she dies, but like they keep making a big issue about her still being alive. And I think if she's just left alone, she'll thrive for a couple more years and be fine.
And our First Lady.
Because Betty White 99 is a lot better than Kirk Douglas at 99.
Yeah. That stroke knocked him out.
On our vice
Well, I mean, that dude smoked and he drank every fucking day. he brawled with John Wayne and Burt Lancaster and all those guys.
They and our nation need you. We need you, for in you we discover our common humanity. In our common humanity, we will seek out the wounded and bind their wounds. We will seek healing for those who are sick.
Bind? Just it.
We will mourn our dead. We will befriend the lonely, the least, and the left out. We will share our abundance.
I still can't get over talking about earlier. We're at the election. It's like, do you think we'll hit 300,000? Like, how did we,
In discovering our
33% that? In 33% increase from that in a matter of like a couple months?
Yeah.
We had tons of people who were warning about the second wave, and
the so-called untouchable.
I feel like we just given up.
Our most vulnerable, our children, the elderly,
Look at that little rat right there.
and the poor.
Gotta keep your eye on Pete Buttigieg.
Rehabilitation beyond correction.
Little slimy turd.
Opportunity to those locked out of opportunity.
Look at the numbers real
We
fast.
will make friends of our enemies. We will make friends of our enemies. People, your people, shall no longer raise up weapons against one another. We will rather use our resources for the national good and become a beacon of life and goodwill to the world. And neither shall we learn hatred anymore. We will lie down in peace and not make our neighbors afraid. In you, O God, we discover our humanity. In our humanity, we discover our commonness. Beyond the difference of color, creed, origin, political party, ideology, geography, and personal preferences. We'll become greater stewards of your environment.
I think that was Strider.
Preserving the land.
Like
that woman.
From it a
the video
sustainable
game?
and securing its wonder.
Or was that the Shinobi remake? I think it's a Shinobi remake that has like the
generations to come.
The sash?
Yeah,
The red sash?
Yeah.
Strider.
These hallowed grounds.
The game I was playing recently, the Strider remake.
Slaves labor to
The super, is it Metroidvania, kind of?
liberty and democracy.
You get new powers, you have to backtrack to places where you couldn't jump
Yeah.
to before. Yeah.
It's like the Bond Commando rearmament's awesome, but the Strider remake was. I just played it to get through it. It wasn't nearly as cool or neat as the original Strider.
The original one's a masterpiece. That video game port.
It's so confusing where you go sometimes, like especially early on, but it's really good.
Teach us, oh God, to live in it.
Did y'all ever play it in the arcade?
Be
It's one of my favorite arcade games.
to one another.
I don't think I've really played that much Strider at all.
Kingdom's goal. Your glory, majesty, dominion, and power forever. Hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. In the strong name of our
Let's see what
collective.
Trump's doing right now during this whole thing. He's got to be watching.
Gotta love that split screen.
Please remain standing as the Armed Forces Color Guard retires our national colors.
What's the ETA on Melania divorcing him?
Yeah, I saw some rumor they were like, yeah, she's got like an apartment in New York. I'm like, yeah. See it when I believe it, or believe it when I see it.
I mean, they redid their prenuptial or whatever it is just before he became president. So it was like related to like, hey, you have to stick with me while I'm president, or red flag. because it would look bad if she left him during his presidency. So I'm sure that they renegotiated to get her more money if she stuck around and didn't leave him during the presidency.
I think that's the one thing we really like. One of these days we're going to see in our lifetime. It's like a really bitter divorce battle in the White House.
Or a single president.
Well, there was a single president. I heard about that. There's one dude that went in as a bachelor.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Talking about Michael Douglas?
claiming your seats while the president.
Yeah, the former president of the United States, Michael Douglas. Yeah.
Wasn't there a movie? Was he the one in the movie that?
No, Derek, you're right. He was really the president.
I love Will. I love when Derek makes a joke and Will's like, yeah, that's, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, because you'll ask Derek a question. You go, hey, have you ever seen, like, Man on a Wire? And he'll go, Bird on a Wire? No, Man on a Wire. I see Bird on a Wire. Okay, that's not what we're talking about. That's what I'm talking about. When I bought Nina Turner, he kept saying Tina Turner. It's like, no, I'm not talking about her.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm opening a new window. I don't know if it's going to... Oh, there it goes. But it should be...
That fucking evil bastard right there. Gotta watch that little cocksucker Pence.
Yeah, it was James Buchanan. He had,
Okay.
I want to say it was his niece that lived with him.
Well, no, that might have been Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson's wife died before he got inaugurated, and his niece was the first lady for a couple months or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it also happened to Buchanan, though.
Okay, it's quite possible, but like I know that for a fact about Andrew Jackson. I read like 4 books about him like last year, and he's one of those dudes that like he had that interesting of a life back then that he can have multiple biographies about him. One of only 2 presidents that had bullets in them when he got inaugurated. Do you know the other one, Barry? Do you know the other one, Derek?
I don't know. What did you say?
There are 2 presidents that had bullets in them when they got inaugurated.
That had bullets in them?
Yes.
Roosevelt?
Yep. Roosevelt and Jackson were the only 2 that I know of that had bullets in them.
Well, nothing terrible's happened, so.
No, Derek. Joe Biden's now president.
Yeah.
That's pretty terrible.
Any minute now, Trump's gonna, it's gonna be like in the comics where he takes over the news feed, controls the what's being broadcast on every channel in America.
I wish we made something, dude. We should have made something and pretended that it took over, like it cut into our feed.
Yeah.
Have a Cobra logo on it or something. It was orange.
Cobra would have been better than Trump.
Well, they said they're talking about Lex Luthor being president in DC Comics.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, Lex Luthor he put all stuff. He actually did all things you're supposed to do, putting things in blind trust and letting his records speak for him and stuff like that. And there's a rumor that when they revamped Superman in the 80s after the Crisis thing, that Lex Luthor was based on Donald Trump.
Huh.
I like Lex Luger.
Yeah. The first gentleman. That sounds right.
What did you say? First Joe?
First gentleman.
Oh, gentleman.
Yeah.
It'd be great if he just walked in and was like, I'm the motherfucking president now.
I'm the president now.
Like a kid play dance between the 2 of them, Kamala and Joe.
I hope our first female president is worthy, and it's not just elect her because she's female.
But nah, I don't know. That's what everybody said about Obama when he got elected. That like it's just like black was like, nah, I don't think it was him being black that had anything to do with it. He was
True.
probably just the right dude at the right place at the right time.
He was a phenomenal speaker that got him very, very far, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the
Well-
message was there.
But the thing is, though, that was one of the most difficult political, like, bitter pills to swallow ever in my life. Was that, like, the dude that I voted for was not the dude who was president. Because the dude, when he was debating Hillary, like, he sounded like a young Bernie. Like, and then, like, what we got was like, wow, we start stocking the cabinet with John Kerry and her. It's like, what are you doing? You don't need that bitch.
Makes you wonder how many deals they do beforehand. It's like, yeah, man, you help me get in, then I'll make you this. And that's like that's the only way they can get it done.
Well, if you're a shrewd politician that's a Machiavellian person like Hillary, you get shit like that. When you're a decent person like Bernie and you don't think like that, you get to sit outside and and not be part of it.
Keep showing.
I'm watching all these entrances and exits, and I keep thinking about how badass it would have been if Joe as Goldberg came out with the security force, bust through the door,
With the
all the
sparks.
police are out there, and he's literally like he's got like his black pants on and boots. And he's over here just like
And he bathed in sparks.
and he bathes in sparks. He's just like, oh,
Or you hear the glass break and Steve Austin comes out.
Well, it's like we were talking earlier about Biden being senile and talking and stuff, and it's like to relate that to wrestling. Trump was the ultimate warrior when it came to doing promos and giving speeches.
I don't know. You watch a couple of Flairs. He's more like Flair,
Yeah,
loud and obnoxious and just like nonsensical. Okay.
Ga ga la la. Obama.
man, that guy needs to get that dude behind Gaga. Like his ears are getting ripped off with that mask.
Yeah, that's kind of tight there, Hoss.
Uh-oh. Where's Michelle at? She needs to break this up.
Gaga is an enigma in itself, because you can see Gaga in one light and think like, why does she show her face? And then other times you're like, you are gorgeous. It's amazing what makeup can do. There's times, and it's not even, sometimes there's no makeup and she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And other times I'm like, what happened?
I think
Well, they tried to ugly her up in that movie she did last year. The remake of the
Stars Born.
Yeah. And it's like they tried uglying her up and she was still attractive. The Hollywood ugly is the Midwestern like 8.5.
That's true.
Get the fuck out of the house, Pence. Take mother. And you take your fucking fly too.
mother. You think he's gonna do a Psycho? Can't you see it?
I can see her in a glass cage, like the
Mother,
bottle.
no. Oh, okay. Well, this is winding down. A book that we should definitely do. I'm rereading it, and I'm laughing my ass off. It's called The Voyeur's Motel. Did you read the synopsis, guys?
Mm-mm.
Here, I'll read the back cover to you, or the inside cover. On January 7th, 1980, in the run-up to the publication of his landmark bestseller, The Neighbor's Wife, Gay Talese received an anonymous handwritten letter from a man in Colorado. Since learning of your long-awaited study of coast-to-coast sex in America, the letter began, I feel I have important information that I can contribute to its contents or to the contents of a future book. The man went on to tell Talise an astonishing secret. He had bought a motel outside Denver to satisfy his voyeuristic desires. Underneath the roof of this motel, the man had built an observation platform fitted with vents through which he could watch his unwitting guest. Unsure what to make of this confession, Talise traveled to Colorado, where he met the man, Gerald Foos, and verified his story in person. But because Foos insisted on remaining anonymous, preserving for himself the privacy he denied his guest, Talise filed his reporting away, assuming the story would remain untold. Over the ensuing years, Foos occasionally reached out to Talise to fill him in on the latest developments in his life. He also sent Talise hundreds of pages of notes on his guest and their habits, work that Foos believed made him a pioneering research into American society and sexuality. America in microcosm had passed through the Voyeur's motel, and he witnessed and recorded the harsh effects of the War of Vietnam, the upheaval of gender roles, the decline of segregation, and much more. But Foos continued to insist on anonymity. Now, after 35 years, he's ready to go public, and Gay Talise can finally tell his story. The Voyeur's Motel is an extraordinary work of narrative journalism. It is at once an examination of one of the unsettling man and a portrait of the secret life of the American heartland over the later half of the 20th century. It's fucking crazy, guys. Because, Gay Talise is a great writer, but all he's doing is just basically publishing this guy's journals. And this guy, that Foos guy, he's a good writer too, but he's doing really creepy shit. He's watching, he goes up in this hotel, in the rafters, basically. He's looking down and just watching people while they know they're not being watched. And there's funny parts in it. There's a dude that's eating KFC and he's not using napkins. He's just wiping it on a bedspread. And he fucking finally snaps. He goes, "You son of a bitch!" And the guy's looking around like, what?
I wonder how he got around on the roof that what was, did people hear him walk around the roof above him? And
he that's the thing, they addressed that in chapter 6 or 7.
Yeah.
He had heavily carpeted floors up there that he and his wife would do it too. They go up there and watch things.
Huh.
He got off of being a voyeur and and she would join him in his sexual escapades and stuff like that. There's one really creepy fucking scene where he's masturbating while a couple are fucking, and he got off of the vent and he started leaking, and the guy got off in the bed and he shot up, right? And the girl's like, "Wow, it's leaking from this. You got up in the vent." And she tasted it. She goes, "It tastes like yours." And it's pretty.
What the fuck?
Yes, it's crazy, man. You guys should buy. I'll buy you both a copy of this book if y'all read it and we could talk about it.
Let's see if I can find it online. Don't have to spend any money.
Huh?
So I'll see if you can find it online, so you don't have to spend any money.
I don't mind. It's the thing. It's a great book. I read it when it came out a couple years ago, and then we were a friend of mine was talking about Hitchcock. And and this is almost like Rear Window and Psycho put together.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It's like the perfect combination of both.
Yeah.
I've got some kids downstairs that are starving. I told them I'd take them to lunch after this, and then Dee, of course, didn't get much sleep. So,
all right.
What do we suspect is going to happen here in the next few weeks? Do we see more of an emergence after the security's kind of brought down? Do we see an emergence of violence? Do we think it's going to be all clear? I think
it's over. I think they know it's over. The stupid, insane shit they thought was going to happen did not happen.
I don't think it's over. I think that the thing that side does well is they regroup, and they think not just short term but long term, and the problem that the left has is that there's no unification on the left side, and that the left doesn't have a Steve Bannon. If there was somebody on the left that was the left Trump, he or she would be excised before they wouldn't get as far as Trump got on the right.
Yeah.
But I think Parler being shut down for a couple weeks was probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Trump not being on Twitter. I don't know if that's a lifetime ban or not, but like him not being on Twitter is probably a good thing because he stirred up all that shit that happened on the 6th.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but it's something like the amount of misinformation, like crazily drastically dropped once they kicked Trump off Twitter.
Well, and I think that migration away from Facebook and Twitter too, like from the right, like my feed is a lot less bullshit now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I agree. It's in hibernation. Those people are still those people. They don't understand that like every week, whatever they believe is true has been disproved. They don't buy that it was disproved. So regardless of, they will still think Trump is president tomorrow. You know,
well, it goes back to like this meme picture I saw, which is it who is it, like when you go to heaven you're at the gates, and is it David or Peter? St. Peter, yeah. And these people go up there and they're like talking to Peter like, all right, now show me the election fraud, that proves Trump won. And Peter's like, no, there is no election fraud, like Biden won. And then the two people are like, this goes higher up than we thought.
That's pretty good.
Which, I mean, I got an argument with a guy who's like, he was convinced there's going to be civil war, and the idiots storming the Capitol he thought was like, oh, this is it, it's going to happen. And it's like, it's not going to happen. And he's crazy conspiracy theorist. Like, you're just going to keep pushing the goalposts back further and further.
Well,
every time it does, it's just like the cultists that predict a doomsday. When it doesn't happen, they're like, oh no, like we meant this one.
We didn't carry the zero.
Well, another thing too, like there's a great book called Talk to Death. It's another book I wish that like we could cover. It's about this murder of a DJ in the 80s. And like the author of the book, Steven Singular, went undercover to like white supremacist meetings and stuff like that. And like there was a white supremacist group in the early 80s that were robbing banks and stuff like that. They were called The Order. They're kind of fictionalized in the movie Betrayed. And Singular said something in that book that's like, once those white supremacists got like some cash in their hands, it's kind of hard to be mad at the system, like when you have money. Now, I have a feeling that like the Black Lives Matter protests over last summer, I feel were somewhat just. Like I understand that, but I also think like a lot of that, like what kind of aided that was people were fucking going crazy in their houses and they were broke and they're pissed off. And like, and I also think that like, if there had been like, like a proper shutdown and we were like a universal income for the past year during this pandemic shit, there we wouldn't have had an assault on the Capitol. Because like, you can kind of like, sure that was white rage, but like, like you kind of understand like why people were pissed off like right now. I mean, it took like, like a year to get $600. But like, but when the stock market was taking a shit last year, they didn't even vote on it. Like, it's like, okay, we're going to give them $5 trillion. Here you go.
Yeah.
And it just like, what?
It's gone.
Yeah. Like, and basically and they put it all on red. It came up black. And like, and it's gone forever and we have to pay for it.
Yep. American way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, that's why I think like, like if Biden was smart, he would institute like, he give Americans back pay for like the past 8 months. And like, and pay all the businesses that are closed. Like, like here's money to keep your employees, and just that would keep everybody happy. There'd be no. It's hard. There's this again in Godfather 2. There's a scene where like a revolutionary blows himself up, and Michael Corleone's talking to Strasberg's character. I can't remember his name, and he says like, I realize that they can win because they're hungry. Like, hunger is a great motivator. I don't know. It just seems like if we could just keep everybody under fucking control by like, keeping them inside and giving them money, it seems like it'd be worth it.
Would have been too late now, though.
But now it's not too late. Biden could be the best president ever right now.
My freedoms, Will. My freedoms.
Yeah.
Just go. Yeah,
Wearing a mask is a form of control, Will. They're trying to prep you for the anal rapage later.
Here, every household last year might not be everything, but it should get caught up on rent or your mortgage. Like, stay in your house for next, 15, 20 days. And we'll call you when your vaccine's ready, and you'll still have to wear a mask till, probably April. But we'll be done with it. But no, it's fucking stupid. More of the same. We just plugged one crazy rapist, racist, in place of another. We switched one for the other. It's going to be a long 4 years, guys. But Trump's gone.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hopefully not as long as the last 4.
Yeah, hopefully it's uphill.
And we have a vaccine.
Trump's in the fucking kiddie pool in fucking Florida, just rubbing himself a KFC right now.
Farting in the bathtub.
Yeah.
He's got his little Trump doll and his buying doll. He's like, I beat you.
He's got a WWE wrestling ring that he's got.
Yeah.
My friend Jordana and I speculated. Jordana was the one that chimed in with Kent. Do you think Trump had the orange crack? When he got hosed down with that orange crap, that he his asshole's that color too. Just think about that. That should be how we end the podcast.
Everybody out there, think about Trump's asshole.
Think about that, folks. Think about that.
Bruised butthole that was earlier in the thing.
Yeah, I'm picturing the whiteness between my hands. This is what his asshole looks like. Probably it's my skin color is the orange, and then that's his asshole.
I'd say Putin probably stretched it out pretty well.
Just imagine he's in how they paint cars. They get the machine that just goes around. I suspect that's how they apply that orange shit to Trump. And okay, Mr. Trump, will you just spread your cheeks, please? All right, 4 seconds, 3, and and they're just hosing down his asshole with the orange stuff. But anyway, guys, wear a mask, don't be a cunt.
All right. See you later, everybody. Penis. We have to hope that Will, and as he is wont to do, doesn't say things like Stretchy Armstrong, Pensacola, Florida, Sticky Orangutan Butt Cheeks, Shinobi was a great Sega game, Harry Tacos from Taco Bell, Gateway Computers, People that wear sunglasses indoors, and bare naked mole rats.